This week on the podcast, we're sharing the big predictions for Summer Game Fest and Xbox Game Showcase and talk about how we'd improve it. We also share our hype levels ahead of the Switch 2's arrival, and on this week's Pixel Pick Showdown, it's all about the best game on an OK handheld as we named the best PlayStation Vita game. All this and more on this week's Pixel Parents podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I'm your host, Liam Kelvin, and today I'm of course joined by the bearded one, Scott, the tastemaker Curry. How are we, Scott?
That is indeed myself, and I am very well. Thank you very much. It's been an emotional day. It was my daughter's first induction day for primary one, and emotions were high.
Oh, aye.
Tensions even higher, and it's really taught me that the curriculum for excellence is never going to change. This is a total specialist topic, right? But straight off the bat, I know this is going to be a long episode anyway, right? So buckle in. If you've got younglings, especially younglings in Scotland, you'll be very familiar with the terminology curriculum for excellence, and it's very much an absolute horror show when it comes to someone who has previously studied I've got a PGDE in teaching, and it is hellish. It is the worst play-based learning and stuff like that. My dog is rustling through a bag down there. But it was just like learning all this stuff, and cold shivers was going down my spine every single time I was seeing the Shinari indicators. I was seeing all the responsible citizens, all that stuff. It was like, oh my God, it's never going to change. But, it's a lovely school. Out with that, it's just that the government and, local authorities conform to all this bullshit. And the schools just have to eat it. But a great school. She loves the teachers and stuff like that there. So tomorrow, I've got another day there tomorrow where all the important stuff happens. And that just so happens to be the day that my wife can't come with me. So all that gets left to fucking yours truly, the idiot of the couple. So I'm going to take a notepad and a pen, and I'm going to make sure that I write everything down, because I know for a fact I'll fucking forget something.
Yeah, I hope you do better than I did last week, because I did do that. I was supposed to. I've done this before. I thought, no, it's fine. I've got this in the bag, and I forgot the form that you're supposed to bring. Oh, sorry, bring that back.
You're a bad man.
Just leave it in my daughter's school bag. It's in there.
What are you doing down there? But no, it's been a fun week. It's kind of feels like it's flown in the last week or so. Where, since we last recorded, it feels like it's only been yesterday. But nothing else really to report. What about yourself?
Good. Yeah, I'm enjoying a lovely week off here. In anticipation of starting a new job next week, which I'm excited about. Just nice to have that new project and challenge in front of me and a wee bit of focus again, which I've slowly missed. I've been working from home for the past 5 years, which is half a decade, and I'm like, wow, when you put it like that, I feel old as shit. So I'm actually moving into a job that's going to be full time in the office again, but it's local, so it's not too bad. I've struck gold in that sense. I've got quite fortunate, but yeah, I feel it's going to be good for me. So in the meantime, I've just been really we had the long weekend there, and now I've just had a few days to myself where I could maybe fall asleep on the couch, despite best intentions of wanting to do all this other stuff. But I've just been dabbling in some games, flirting with some platinums and all that stuff that in between it. And thinking about starting some TV shows. The usual stuff. When you get an hour to yourself and it's I'm going to do all this stuff, and then you just fall asleep on the couch.
Sit and watch fucking bullshit on YouTube. It's just
I've done lots of that.
That's how it always goes. It's good though. I don't know. I don't know if I could move back to full time in the office after so long, free of everything, and especially with the responsibility that I have with my daughter in nursery or now school. I'll be dropping her off most days, and the dog at home and stuff like that as well. I feel the guilt of the father. But
Yeah.
I suppose if it ever comes down to it and it ever did have to do that, then you would just have to fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? Just it'll work itself out.
That's it. I mean, for me, it's been a total. This is a really boring topic, I suppose, but it's really. I suppose lots of people listening might be in the same boat, but for me, it's been a question of right. I need to push myself on because I could feel myself slipping into a comfort zone, and I'm a wee bit older than you, Scott. Not by much. If you believe his lies, you think I'm about 40 years older than him, but I'm at that point where I'm thinking, where do I want to be when I hit my next decade? And I'm thinking, I need to get out my comfort zone. And now that the wee man's about to start school and the both of them will be there's going to be a lot of morning drop off and pick up, nonsense that we'll have to navigate, but we'll get through it. It's just like everybody else manages to do it, so we'll be fine. And I do feel guilty in the sense that, working from home does have a luxury of work-life balance with it, and it's been brilliant. But I'll be forever grateful that I've been able to kind of get the best years of their young life before school happens, and you just see I always remember like my nephew started school, and see by the October you could see the soul leave his body. Just kind of like, is this it now for the next God knows how many years?
It's the worst, innit? It is the worst. But
I know.
You also then look back at it as an older man, being like, take me back to those days where
best years of your life, son.
They are, and you don't listen to your parents when they tell you that. That's and then you say it to your parent, you say it to your kids, and then the fucking cycle continues.
Oh God, aye.
Time is a flat circle, Liam.
That is indeed,
just like the Earth is.
We've got lots of games and lots of cool predictions and stuff to throw out there into the universe. So let's get some housekeeping out the road, shall we, and just get in about it. So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents Podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game. For those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming whilst raising little ones. And if you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at pixelparents.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear and you want to support this show, you can leave a 5-star review and share this podcast online with your friends. That, of course, really helps us out. And, of course, thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. So with that out of the way, Scott, what have you been playing this week?
What have I been playing this week? I actually went to go and look at it. I know one game I've been playing this week, but I can't remember if I've done anything else. I'll just talk about the one that I've been playing and I know. So I had bought a game many moons ago, and I played it for about an hour and then fell off hard. And then I thought this week, I'm going to pick it back up. The year of the log, 2025.
Absolutely.
And I'm still committing to this year being that. So I decided to play a little RPG called Live Alive. Spelled exactly the way you think. Live,
absolutely,
massive A, live on the other side of it. Big thanks to Retro Monster on Blue Sky who told me how to pronounce it, because I had no fucking clue. I was like, live a live, live a live. Fuck knows, but it's an old RPG. So originally released in 1994, produced by Square, now known, I think it was Squaresoft, now known as obviously Square Enix and stuff. But it was remade in 2022, as you'll probably remember. And if you remember anything about it, it's got that same 2D HD art style that we all know and love from Dragon Quest and Octopath Traveler.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. The way that it works, so the way that it starts is you've got like 6 or 7 characters, and they all have their own time period and their own separate wee stories. So like there's a cowboy, there's a wee robot, a wee baseball robot guy. There's a prehistoric age where you play as this wee, tomboy looking arsehole. But basically you take on these characters and you get to live maybe 2 or 3 hours in their shoes and get a wee scenario out of it. And it's really cool. Like I've really enjoyed playing it. And I think the first time I played it, I started as the cowboy, and I just really wanted to play the entire game as this cowboy because it was cool as all hell. But I managed to work my way through it. So I've managed to get onto the last scenario. So I'm about 20-25 hours in. It's really not a long game, but it's been kicking my arse, Liam. Yeah, it's been fucking.
Yes.
I've managed to get to this point, and now what happens is the characters can now join together. So there's an event that happens, and now all the characters are in one scenario. So I picked the wrong character to start off with, and I'm now fucked. So I'm having to try and grind the fucking living hell out of it, and it's just hellish.
Flipping there, man. It's a
It's
nightmare.
so annoying, and it's just completely ruined my enjoyment of it. I was really enjoying it, and now this is just like, oh, fucking hurry up and end. Um, but it's good. Like I've been enjoying it. It's not going to it's not going to win awards now. I think back in the day, if you had this game, it's probably going to be something that would be quite memorable for what it was doing back then.
Yeah.
In 1994, but in our Lord's year 2022, it's not going to be groundbreaking, but it was certainly good fun. And I'll finish it, and then that'll be it done, and it'll be off the log. But it fell into a weird position this week because I had completely forgotten about something. Completely. I was upstairs in my room just looking at, in fact, no, I lie. I was getting ready to go out, and I think I'd left my PlayStation on rest mode. So I was like,
Right.
fuck, I'll just turn it off because there's no point. I wasn't playing anything, so I'll just turn it off. So I turned it back on again, put the TV on just to remember what buttons you have to press to actually turn the fucking thing off. And I got a wee notification to say that something had been downloading or something had downloaded whilst I was away. Onimusha 2, Liam.
Yep.
The Onimusha 2 remaster is here. So I was like, I've been like, oh man, I just want to play it, but I'm all the way through fucking Live Alive now, so I'm like, it'll have to wait. Juby is going to have to wait.
Yeah.
So he'll get his turn. Don't you worry, and I'll be here talking about it because I'm fucking buzzing to play it. But yeah, that's pretty much been me. I've still been playing Animal Crossing with the Wii, and you can see her slowly falling out of love with it because it's not got the same energy, and you can't burst through days the same way that you can do in Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much collecting sticks and rocks and bugs that you can do. Blathers has never seen this many bugs, I'm telling you. He's been inundated with them, and she's not got that excitement for fossils and stuff. I think that if Stardew Valley had the creation tools that you can do, like how you can design stuff, like if it just had creation tools where you could build your wee house and you could actually decorate it properly from moment one, not have to go and get all the fucking plants and all that bullshit, she'd love it. She'd never stop playing it, but you can see her slowly falling out of love with it. So much so that she wanted to play Stardew Valley the other day. And then, she wanted to play Super Mario Wonder again as well, which is hilarious because she's not played it for 6 months and trying to remember how to run in that game. She's like, what am I doing? Like, so just put her as Yoshi and she's dying every 2 seconds, and it's like, it's fine because you cannot die as Yoshi, but it's also like there's only so much saving I can do here. Like, come on now, you need to fucking pitch your weight in here. But no, that's pretty much been me. It's been a pretty sort of chill week. I've not had any platinum trophies to go for. I've no desire to do any platinum trophies at the moment. I did almost have a wee feeling to go and play Red Dead Redemption 2, but now is not the time. If we're talking about, a potential upgrade on that soon. If we're talking about an upgrade on that game soon, then, I'll be there for it. Day one.
Yeah.
I've also fallen in love with a YouTube series. What was his name again? Omega something. Edge, I think it's like Edge Omega or something. I'll get the name whilst I'm thinking about it. But he does loads of Skyrim runs. So he's got 100% run on Skyrim. He's done a run where he completes, Skyrim, Fallout 4, and Starfield in 12 hours. And like I'm like, maybe I could go back and play one of the Fallout games. This is what happens to me, Liam. It's like a constant rotation. Time is a flat circle. I think, you know what? Maybe I'll enjoy a Bethesda game.
Yeah, it's vibe gaming though. That's the best way to be though.
Maybe
if the mood takes you.
Maybe I'll turn it on and I'll start it, and then I'll just do the same thing I do with every Fallout game, where I get out the vault and then I just don't care anymore. And it's definitely not going to be Starfield because fuck that shit. But it's been one of those weeks where I've felt the lull, which has been nice because I've not felt like I've had to play something, so it's been good. And Live Alive has been carrying me through it.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much me. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of this week, I felt like it's been a pretty intense few weeks with Claire Obscure and then doing the Dark Ages and stuff. So I got back to Assassin's Creed Shadows last week, and I'm pleased to say I finally got the platinum on it over the weekend. I was sitting there grinding castles away, trying to get the last mastery points, and I totally forgot. All I had to do was reset the mastery tree, and that would have been me. And that's what happened. And so for something I thought was going to take me hours, took me literal minutes to get that last trophy. And yeah, that sense of satisfaction that comes because, as you know, I've platinumed every mainline Assassin's Creed and Mirage since pretty much Origins. I am that sado, proudly though. But boy, am I glad that it's not as brutal a grind as what like Origins was. Even Odyssey was a pretty epic platinum, I'd have to say. But they've been getting more and more forgiving. Because I think my hour count must have been about 65, 70 hours or something in Shadows. Compare that to like Odyssey, which was about 120, Valhalla was 130. Origins is about 90, I think. So that gives you a kind of a rough idea. Because I think you really only have to complete the game 50% to get the platinum. So, I mean, it was worth doing.
Yeah.
You get your money's worth and you move on, and there's still stuff there. And I'll look forward to going back to it once the DLC's there. So it left me in a like you says, feeling the lull, but really enjoying it. Just kind of thinking, what am I in the mood for playing this week? And I've went back out of all things because I thought, I've kind of got the platinum bug just now. And I've actually been going back and I've been playing Star Wars Outlaws again. I've only got like 6 trophies left for the platinum. So, you know what it's like going back to a game that you haven't played for some time. And, excuse me, and you kind of have to get back into the rhythm of it a little bit because
I told you a few weeks ago, every single game there's a wee 5-minute tutorial. That's all it needs.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
A wee 5-minute whistle stop tour of all the actions and stuff like that, and that's it. All you need.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely bang on actually, because that would be perfect. Even maybe there might be. I'm going to go tonight and have a look to see if there is maybe a way to revisit the tutorial. But they've made a few changes since I played it properly last year and finished it. We got that through review, I remember. But I had also remembered I've got the story DLC sitting there.
Yeah.
And I had to basically grind some credits. And I thought, what better way to do it than to just go through the story? And I'm so glad I did. The Wildcard DLC was the first one that came out in November last year. So that's been sitting there waiting on me. And Scott, man, this just reminded me, it made me so happy just to be back in Star Wars. Obviously, you've got this little adventure with Lando Calrissian of all people. And it was just great. It was pretty much centered around a heist type casino game setup, playing Sabacc. And it just kind of spiraled out of there. It's about 2 to 3 hours. Nice, short and sweet. So it's effectively like playing a film. And just not doing anything different from the main game, but it felt like the story just was a lot tighter, and it was just a great wee adventure to go on with KVS. So when we finish recording tonight, I'm going to start up the next one, which is the Pirate's Fortune DLC. That just dropped a couple of weeks ago. And again, I've heard it's about 2 to 3 hours. And yeah, I'm cool with that. That's exactly where I need to be just now. And then it's platinum time. I've only got like a couple of upgrades and a few of the ship combat things. A couple of them were a bit of a pain in the ass, but you know me, I enjoy any type of flight combat, so I'll quite happily grind away at that. Next up on that though is, of course, I've got South of Midnight there. I've been flirting with the idea of starting it this week because I've not touched it. That was the only game that slipped through the cracks really for me in the year of the log. And of course, Oblivion, remastered, just as a comfort food game just to go back to. But you know what it's like if you're sitting there like, it's 10:30 in the morning, it's a day off, feeling a wee bit chill, put on something, you hear that Oblivion music, next thing you know, falling asleep and it's 2:30 and the day's gone. So I'm trying to avoid that from happening. So yeah, that's kind of really been where it's all been for me. Nice and, relaxed week for me, for both of us. But I think you do need that. Yeah. I think you do need that. It can't just be, all gun-ho, sitting, grinding out these games. I was really sad the other night, and what I did was really sad. Sorry, I wasn't, mentally sad. Thankfully, I was quite happy, but I think it's, I sat and thought about how many hours in a week do I have to actually play games. Thought about it, and I was like, right, kids go to bed in a good night about 8 o'clock. So if I was to purely play that, I usually go to my bed at midnight. Is that 4 hours a night? You do the math for me. By 7.
28 hours.
28 hours a week. You know what I mean? So now, you think about wow, that's actually quite a lot of time if you were to do that. Now that's not counting all the other trips to the shops, spending time with your loved ones, all the other crap that comes between it, walking the dog, all that stuff. But it was just a very nice bit of gamer math. I've been obsessed with that lately, just like how we justify
Trying to justify the time that you're spending here.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been such a good vibe. Like, obviously, we've been in the house now for a couple of months, and the kids are just at that point now where they like to sprawl out. And my wife is like, she'll be sitting reading a book, and the kids are doing something. And obviously, we've got eyes on each other throughout the house. But every now and then, I'm just like, I'll get to my son who's most interested in gaming. So my daughter will join my wife. They would just sit and chill out together, and he'll just want to sit in my knee and either play something, watch me play something, or I'll get him to play something. But although the other day I was pure dying to play Doom Eternal. I was like, I can't play this in front of him. I'll traumatise the poor child.
In front of it.
You know what I mean? But he's been playing a few things this week. The Switch there, which is almost officially his. It is at this point. It's an absolute midden. I could throw it on the wall and it would stick to it. It's just been absolutely just, middenified by, child hands. Despite my pleas to get him to wash his hands and all that before he touches anything.
That's kids for you, though. That's kids for you.
I know. I've not given you sweeties. Why are your hands sticky? I don't get it.
It's so clammy. Like, why are your child's hands so clammy? Worst.
But he's been sitting there playing. He went back to Pokemon Scarlet, which is still, runs like a potato. But he hovered over it and he's like, Dad, can I play this? And he pulled out the game card and it was for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And I was like, I don't know, son. And that was my first instinct was, that's too hard. That's a hard one. And I thought, you're not bugging it. So I booted up Breath of the Wild after me convincing him not to play it. And it's like, why don't you play another one? And after all that, and the amount of time it takes to load in the Switch, man, and you're there, and I thought, he can just play the save. I'm not going to play that game again until the Switch 2 comes out. So on you go. And then he's like, I don't want to play it now. It's like, bugger. Absolute bugger. But just curious to see how he goes with it, because he's shown interest in a lot of these games. And me personally, we all know what our kids are like. My son is one that as soon as he gets frustrated, he'll throw in the towel. Mm-hmm. So I don't see any Souls games on the horizon for him in the near future. Put it that way. But It'll
come eventually.
I just keep it breezy, like Mario Wonders and all that stuff. It's like go A to B. Astrobot still remains his absolute favourite, and I still stand by it. It's like that game is just absolute magic. Kids of all ages. But I'm very much looking forward to, and that brings me to my next point. We're about a week away from the Switch 2 launching. And you're starting to feel it now. The buzz and all that's starting to hype up. Few punters are starting to get it in hands, even though they can't play it. Sad trumpet. Because it needs a day one update. So they've just got a very shiny looking brick for another week. I'm sorry, that's kind of what you get for the humble brag. I'm sorry, that's what happened. But I'm really getting excited now for the thought of Mario Kart World Tournaments. But my wife's obviously, this is like a game that she'll show up for, is Mario Kart. And already we're plotting that for the first night on the Thursday. Let's just have a family Mario Kart night. Now I'm probably going to have to co-pilot for my daughter's sake. Actually, she doesn't have the dexterity to work it, but I'm very intrigued to see if there's any accessibility options in there.
Accessibility options for it, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm hoping there is, because we want to make sure that everybody can take part. But it's like, it's all right. You stick with me, darling. Daddy's going to win this. Don't you worry. I'm going to take no prisoners, Scott.
Where did you order yours from?
From Smith's Toys Superstores.
So I think they're doing are they not doing a midnight launch thing as well?
They are indeed. I was actually there today.
Are you tempted by it?
See, if I wasn't, that also coincide, by the way, the first week of the new job. So I'm like, I need to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You know what it's like? You've kind of got to go in and give the best possible account of yourself, regardless of where you're working at.
I suppose so.
So a midnight launch is probably not the best idea for me at that point.
And you're going to be home for it getting delivered?
No, my dad will be here.
Making sure that he's sticking about.
He'll be in here anyway, because the same thing. Like I've got to think about the dog. So he's going to come in and he's also going to be there for the drop off after school for my daughter. So she'll get dropped off to the door. And Papa will be there waiting on her. So yeah, it's just all these wee things you work out. But don't you worry. Next Thursday, I need you here first thing, and I need you here and to tell me when it's been delivered. And you know what will happen? He'll be here all day and it won't get delivered until I get in from work.
That'll be true.
But
Right.
it's because where we're at, we're always at the tail end of the deliveries. Don't blame them for that. I'd do the same. But I'm excited, man. Like it feels like it's always a lovely rare thing, a console launch. You know, for me, you just can't beat that hype ahead of the console launch itself. Even if you're not buying it, it's just always good just to get that little bit of freshness. Like, right, we're going to be talking about something new. And I'll never take it for granted, you know, because it's such a treat being able to get a console at launch. It was, you know, very rarely was that in fact it never happened when I was a kid. So I know I'm trying to make this like a bit of an occasion, you know, especially for the kids as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to your fine self getting involved in the Mario Kart action here as well.
Sincerely, and this is coming from the heart. There has been not one part of me seeing all the stuff in the wild and everything coming up in the last week or so. I have to remind myself that it's coming. Like that's the thing. Like people keep on telling me 1 week away from the Switch 2, and it's like, cool. Like I've still not seen anything as part of it that's like, I need to go out and buy this now. Like there's not that killer app for me. Mario Kart's always been. Mario Kart's great. I mean, it's fucking best game on the Switch, but it's a complete novelty. After a while, like it kind of loses its fun, and I don't really want to have to. This is ridiculous. Like here is the biggest hypocrite in video games right here, but I don't really want to have to buy a Switch 2 to play Breath of the Wild better when it should have run fucking better on the Switch in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It was made for the Wii U. You know what I mean? Like, fuck's sake. But
that's why I think I'm going to opt.
It's true. Yeah,
I'm going to opt for the expansion pack because you get the upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with it, plus all the GameCube stuff. So that's how they're going to get me. Plus, you know, your old dad did well in the bookies at the weekend, so you know he's got to put that to good use with the expansion pack. Yeah, well, that's the upside to my old man. Like he likes to do the horses. Every now and then he'll give you a tip. I'm like, thank you. And you're talking to the man, Scott, that last week stayed up to 2:30 in the morning playing digital horse racing on GTA Online. So, you know, it must run in the blood or something like that. We can't resist it. Can't resist it at all. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I don't know. So next week it's probably going to be a bit different because there's a lot happening. You get Switch 2 launch, and you get Summer Game Fest, which we'll be talking about shortly. That's next week, yeah. Summer Game Fest Showcase is next Friday, so that'll be when next week's episode goes live. We won't be doing a reacts to Summer Game Fest because I'll be out in the lash, sadly. I hate to disappoint you. Things you need to do, but we will be doing one.
I'll do it single-handedly. I'll man the ship.
See if you want to. I would love that. Solo podcast.
Solo podcast.
The Dark Souls of podcasting.
I'll do it myself.
You can, of course. Up to you. But we'll do one for the Xbox Game Showcase, which, to be honest with you, I think that's the one we're both most excited about anyway. And we say that, we'll probably miss some Half-Life 3 announcement or something like that on the Friday.
I certainly won't.
I'm with you. I won't, you know, unless I'm looking for some form of Valium. But yeah, the Switch 2 launch coverage, I think I'll probably come back with my thoughts the week after, just to let our lovely listeners know. But I am intrigued. I really want to take a deep dive into what the thing actually looks and feels like to play. Is it much of an improvement? Is it purely iterative, which I feel it may be? But what's the small day-to-day stuff that's going to make the difference? And also, more importantly, because there'll be a few people out there asking, is this something that's going to feel too expensive to buy for the kids? Because if you've got a wee bit of spare change, I know sometimes, I remember having this conversation with some people in my family when they asked me about any type of game stuff. You know, is it going to be something that I'm going to be raging about if they drop it? Basically, that's where, you know, a Switch Lite's probably the better option, isn't it? Or the OG Switch at this point. So we'll see. I'm interested in that build quality. But anyway, I digress. Before we get into our main topic, Scott, I also wanted to talk about, because we've not actually, but the thought dawned on me the other day. We haven't talked about this at all, I don't think, since it first aired. If this been a video game podcast and that of us being, you know, connoisseurs of video game culture, I wanted to talk about The Last of Us Series 2 and just kind of get an overall verdict, because we've both watched it all by now. watch the finale this week, Scott, I'm assuming.
Indeed.
I will, from the off, this will be spoiler free. So I'm not going to discuss the details because I'm also aware that not everybody will have watched TV shows week to week, or you might be saving it up for a big binge, all 7 episodes of it. You'll be there for some time, not. So I'm just intrigued, Scott. What was your overall verdict on Series 2?
It's had moments. Like, I feel like Season 1 was like great throughout. It obviously had lulls, but this one has felt more that it's had more lulls than great moments. Do you know what I mean? And that's not to put anything, because I know what you call her, Bella Ramsey, has had a lot of fucking stick on her performances and stuff like that. And I actually don't think there's any issue with that. I think there's still this stigma attached to the fact that she doesn't look like Ellie, and it's like, oh my god, how dare we? Like, fucking Robert Pattinson doesn't look like fucking Batman. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like they're characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, fuck off. For me, I've not enjoyed it as much as Season 1, and that's actually nothing to do with the content of it. I just feel like some of the interactions weren't great. I liked some of the interplay between Dina and Ellie, but it almost felt like it was written by like 14-year-olds at points. Like it was just like stupid the way that they was going about it. You're allowed to portray a lesbian relationship on television and not make it so fucking like weird and awkward. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like that in the game. Like, there's moments of it, and it felt like it lingered on that so much. Like, it lingered on that relationship between the two of them at points when it didn't need to.
I think I get what you mean. Like, in sense of, when I was watching it, I felt that they were I could see what they were going for, which was really tapping into Dina's realization that she is interested in Ellie, and they had that. Well, in fact, I'll stray away from spoilers, but there's a moment in there where she kind of, is talking about as such where she is on that journey, and it sums up the whole season for me in terms of execution. I think that's been the big problem. I'm going to come back to what you said, though. I mean, the thing that the whole discourse from these creepy incels is exhausting, man. Like, and I thought, I can do this again after 2020, because we were all exhausted on The Last of Us with these weirdos out there. And now out there with the whole Bella Ramsey thing, it's like, right, these weirdos, it's like, we get it. You're a creep and you obsess on Bella Ramsey looking different, not like the character, like you said in the game. You wanted the 14-year-old character to be more attractive last time, and you're still whining about it. You just can sit with that, because that to me shouts, creep. But it's always that thing. Don't become.
I'm getting the word. I'm getting the word.
Exactly, and it's that age-old thing. Like, don't be coming for people's looks like that. And this it's a weird campaign of obsession and objectification as well. Because Pedro looks nothing like Joel in the games. But we don't hear a peep or get a meme about it. And it's weird, and I'm just like, for the love of God, stop. Every comment section related to this thing, it's either woke or all the rest of it, and it's like, for God, do these people just take a holiday? Like, sometimes I wish I could,
and how is it
off.
woke? Like, female character portrays female character in TV adaptation. It's like,
I know.
How is that woke? I don't understand. Woke pish.
No, it's that whole, if you use it as a pejorative, you've already lost all sense of credibility with me. And the problem is, there's so many elements to The Last of Us that makes it feel real and human. There is heterosexual relationships, there is homosexual relationships, there's everything in between it. There's also big shambling zombie fungus monsters and all that as well. And these people will find anything to pick apart and ruin it for themselves, but the problem is they try to ruin it for everybody else. And I thought Bella Ramsey was still, I thought all the main cast were fantastic again. I think the writing let them down in terms of from the showrunners. I think Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann on this occasion, I think they've compromised the flow of the story just by carving it the way they have. And, for the wait, I'm sorry, 7 episodes every 2 years isn't good enough, man.
No.
Like, I think it's a piss take, and they should have at least doubled up to give the story a wee bit more feeling of balance for the uninitiated. Because my wife's watching this, as yours has watched with yours, and I'm like, she's like, what was that ending? And I'm like, right, okay. And then she's asking me things about, does this mean X? Does this mean Y? And I'm like, you're just going to have to wait. And I've not said, you're going to have to wait 2 years. And the fact that we have to wait another 2 years for what might be less episodes is madness to me.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm the same as you, though. I think, and I did enjoy Series 2. I think the highs of it really delivered, particularly Episode 2, Episode 5, right? Episode 2, you might have seen some scuttlebutt online. Episode 5, very touching. Really hits you in the feels, particularly on, we're talking about the themes of parenting.
Is that 6?
In fact, you're right, yeah, Episode 6, sorry. On those themes of parenting. And it was very much a case of, like, there was moments in there, particularly from Pedro Pascal, that hits you like an absolute ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
And Bella Ramsey as well. I think the both of them make that relationship so real and so believable.
Yeah.
And
but obviously, for me in that episode, I mean, Pedro is Pedro, right? He's going to Pedro. But the thing for me in that episode is that, the first time you see her, she's obviously younger. And then you get to see the gradual switch until like an older version of Ellie, and like the way she is now and how that gradually changes over the years and stuff as well. It's magical, it's brilliant, but it's, as I say, that's my only criticism of it, is just the writing of it. That it really took me out of it. And I don't think it's helped the fact that I've played it recently because of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's definitely soured me on it, but I think it just lacked something. Like, obviously you had the Bill episode in season 1, which was like, phenomenal.
Oh, some of the best TV of all time.
Yeah, and it really lacked moments like that. I think you were just left in and obviously the game does this, you're left in the company of Dina and Ellie for too long. I think sometimes, like, absence makes the heart grow fonder in these moments, and you're allowed to take a step back from them and let them go and do their own thing and then come back where they are. But even just getting a wee bit more into, like, some of the characters like Liv and Jackson, for example, like, there's stuff there that you could have easily done. And some of the parts in episode 6, when you've got, like, things that happen, that's amazing. Yeah. Like, it's phenomenal. It's obviously not to do with Pedro and stuff like that, but it's great. And it really adds more to it. So it's nice, but that's genuinely my only criticism of it. I thought it was great, and I think as an adaptation for a video game, brilliant. But
oh yeah, still up there. I think that the writers really need to have a word with them. They have a word with themselves. I feel that I'm totally with you. Like, I feel at points it did meander through the season because they spent so long in the setup of things as they are in Jackson, but it felt confused because they didn't really know. It gave you the sense that they didn't know if they wanted it to be a show about the very awesome Dina and Ellie, and then it felt like they kind of shoehorned the main focus of the tale from the game being in this kind of Ellie's sheer force of hate, pushing her through all these people in her journey on that. So it felt like it didn't have the same clarity, but it was never going to be because they're only telling part of a story. So that's always going to hamper it. But
and even with that, like, one of the key themes to The Last of Us is like revenge and like anger and stuff like that. Like, as you're playing it, you're obviously controlling Ellie from, that moment, but it's like she's portraying anger throughout it, but you can feel it as you play it, where you're literally mowing down people for the fucking sake of it. And like, you feel that rage as you're going through it. Whereas by the time this finished, I didn't feel that. Like, it doesn't hit the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and this is where I think the writing has failed it, because a lot of people are like, oh, they'll find anything. Like, Bella Ramsey wears a shirt in a colour they don't like, and they'll just start saying, I think she's a wonderful actress. Sorry, I think they're a wonderful actress, but I think it's one of those ones where the writing here, I think it failed the point of Ellie's journey so far. There's a moment in the finale, and I was quite taken aback because I was like, wow, this is really different. Now, different doesn't always mean bad, but I'm feeling like, what is the point? Yeah. Like, the motivation of the character is changed, and from what it had been in the game. Now, that raises a question, I'm intrigued to see where they go with it. But if you compare what we've seen of Ellie and the very little we've seen of Abby, but the way that Caitlin Dever's kind of portraying her, despite not being the same, again, one-to-one physicality that you would get in the game, I feel like she has got the same commanding presence as what Abby does. In the same way Bella Ramsey is able to capture this kind of immature rage of Ellie so well. But I feel that they've made a couple of choices there. In the finale, there was like, oh shit, we've only got one episode. We've got 20 minutes left, guys. Right, let's just do all this. And it really rushed through. Just a couple of key, very, very key moments. You're talking about seconds worth that has a huge impact. Now, they've got 2 years, I suppose, and they'll take their sweet ass time. I just feel that, when you compare it to Series 1, and it is missing that, it's missing the gravitas of Daddy Pedro. It really is, because anything he's in, I'm there. You know what I mean? This is a household that's big Pedro fans, right? Which is great. Me and my wife will regularly share TikToks of this man just being a total shining light of positivity. Wonderful guy. And I love the relationship that he's got with Bella, and you can kind of see that come through in the acting together. I just wonder, where do they go from here in terms of if they're going to have less episodes and they need someone to carry it, and if they lose Bella as well? Not that she's gone anywhere, but she will be in the next season less, the way that it's going, just purely from a narrative structure. So I'm very intrigued to see what that means for the show. But I think there was reports that the finale viewership was down, but that could also be a result of the long weekend that happened in the States as well. They were off on Monday as well. So we'll wait and see. But if you're still yet to watch it, I'd still say it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
But go on just knowing that it's a very different feeling season to the first one, which is such a tight, compact story. But yeah, I think my wife still walks away very much a fan, which is good, and that's
the same as mine. Like she watches The Last of Us fucking every single day, basically the first season, and she's watched season 2 all over again. So obviously doing something right.
Yeah, and it's not Walking Dead itself yet. So
Christ, aye.
I really don't hope I live to see that day. But but yeah, we should move on anyway. So I don't have a clever segue.
Speaking of Walking Dead.
Yeah, speaking of Walking Dead. What an insult. They'll be coming for me. I think we move on to our main topic this week, Scott. And I think we've got some listener mail this week as well. But I'm going to keep that for the end. It's a good question in there for us. But yeah, it's time for the main topic. So we're going to be talking about Summer Game Fest, because it's that time of year again. And we're going to be talking about our predictions. But I thought before we get into the meat, the juicy part, Scott, because predictions are always fun. We get to really just, start shouting daft things. Something like Half-Life 3, for example, or Bloodborne 2. The usual stuff. Bloodborne 2 will be at the Xbox Showcase. Stupid shit like that. We'll get, and nothing's off the table. Before we do, though, Summer Game Fest as a whole, though, man. Like, current state, right? So it's 2020, Jeff Keighley started this, and it's been going at a steady pace. But I thought, why don't we talk about, is there anything that we feel that could be improved with it? Is it something that we feel that's sticking the landing? Because obviously, this was something that was ultimately to take the place of what E3 used to be that summer celebration of video games, gaming Christmas. I feel like you can't talk about Summer Games Fest without the spectre of E3. I do think it was smart of Jeff to fill that gap. But for me, to kick things off, I just think it isn't quite there yet. I still feel like this feels very much like another Jeff thing. The B show that he has. A show being the Game Awards, and the C show being, of course, the Gamescom opening night live. But what's your 2 cents on it, Scott?
I think it echoes a sentiment that we shared many moons ago when we first started the podcast, and that it ultimately feels like that B show. It is the SmackDown to the Game Awards Raw. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I like that.
It is AEW to WWE. Come at me, fucking AEW fans. There's only so many thumbtacks that you can throw in the fucking ring for people to care about it. But it does, and I don't think that recent history has been kind to it. And I'm going to get into that because I went on a journey this week through the archives. But I don't think the recent performance history of Summer Games Fest has really been kind to its reputation and how people view it. And I think it's the same way that people look at like a state of play in comparison to a PlayStation fucking whatever you call it showcase or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it always has this. It has this wee sort of moment of like, oh, but it's only Summer Games Fest. Do you know what I mean? Like we're not going to get a massive drop or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm with you on it. It's very much just feels like the B show to the Game Awards.
Yeah, and I'll add the caveat at the front here because I'm not wanting this to come across as like a negative Nancy clickbaity type thing. You know, I respect and appreciate the work that Jeff's put into this.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
If you've got the contacts from like decades of work in the industry, I think, you know, make them work for you. Put them in use, and that's what he's doing. Anybody else in his position would do that. I think, however, he could make a few changes to take it to the next level. And of course, he's listening. So of course, he's going to be he's going to be taking this on board because Jeff listens to everything. I'll give him that. Jeff knows everything. I think for me, like how I would go about improving it, right? Because I've just thought about that. It's like, what is it he's trying to do, right? And it's this whole like, we want to kind of be that, fill the void that E3 left because it died a most miserable death. But the world was changing, and I think E3 was always going to die in its form. And, you know, getting everybody into the big old conference centre in Los Angeles and, you know, just having these big showcases every year, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox. And the right was in the world once Nintendo started their Direct. But big problem for me is that it feels like it's trying to be a tagline to something that just isn't happening. You know, when you look at all the individual showcases, take Xbox, for example, but I mean, there's a few in there. And I think all of them are going down the right route in terms of let's have a very diverse showcase from lots of different walks of the gaming community and show, you know, what these talented individuals are making and bring it to a wider audience. So you've got the SGF Live Showcase, you got the next day of the Devs, Wholesome Direct 2025, Women-Led Games Showcase, Latin American Games Showcase, Southeast Asian Games Showcase, Green Games Showcase, Frosty Games Fest, which is those games made in Australia, and then you've got the Xbox Games Showcase / Outer Worlds 2 Direct on the Sunday. Now, it's when E3 started to die and the big publishers realised the Thanos, you know, fine, I'll do it myself. It just became that these individual moments that we as internet punters can join in on. It's just a YouTube link.
Yeah.
SGF is trying to kind of be that virtual conference centre, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
The bricks and mortar virtual stage flow. But the problem I feel is that it's almost imposing itself and forcing that into things that don't need it. But I get why. You know, these other showcases are much smaller, and Jeff wants to take that we all benefit together approach, which I do applaud him for. Unfortunately, you know, and no disrespect, we also know the perils of niche media. So the audience just won't care, or at least the unaware ones won't. You know, I think you'll have very much the ones that are interested. And that's not to say don't try, but it's a really hard grind. A really, really hard grind. And I feel that I've got a solution in mind for it. Yeah. But because I think SGF as a series of showcases just doesn't work. I just feel like this is a wraparound package way. You know, it will announce something can get announced entirely separate, at least to the punter, not us, you know, the sad hardcore out there, right? It's kind of like the showcase just doesn't feel like it's clicking with it, you know, and you might as well call it fetch because I'm just kind of like, Jeff, stop trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen. You know, every time it's like, you know, Scott, and you announce a showcase and all of a sudden, Jeff, the next day, it's part of Summer Games Fest. And it's like, is it? You know, it doesn't really mean anything to us. Like, I don't really understand the metrics behind it. I'm not privy to that. But I think people that are following that are probably more likely to get it off Blue Sky and or on YouTube Live or something and tune into it and they lead up to it. And I do think that blanket approach just confuses and dilutes the potential that it has. You know, the online showcase space is an open space. You know, you can't put a lid on it. And I think we're already, you know, sharing one stage already in this battle for attention and awareness. So while I applaud the sentiment of Summer Game Fest and making it this unifier celebration, as you will, the reality is it just feels like a bit of a redundant tag concept with a bunch of separate streams that are actually competing with each other. And that's the big thing that I say needs to get fixed. Now, to finish this point, I would say, how would I fix it, Scott? How would I? I would just stick to just kind of make it an SGF showcase as he's doing, but kind of create this one night only vibe that he's done so well with the Game Awards. Having that big showcase around what's much better than this kind of online showcase world, instead of building this blanket concept of a weekend around it, build just everything around that showcase that you want everybody to be a part of. Maybe just like, look, can you give us your headlines? And then even it's like, look, very similar to what Xbox or something do, they'll show you something on Nintendo, and then they've got the treehouse. And it's like, if you want more of this, we've got a deep dive. And maybe they want to kind of put, I hate to use the word smaller, but the smaller type announcements, because they do exist. Not all announcements are equal. And he's tried to do that with the Game Awards, because you see them putting a lot more indie publishers, which I think is a great move by him, because he knows, listen, we're not charging them, not doing anything, we just think this is a cool game and want more eyes on it. And he's got that audience. I think if he was to focus on the one night instead of the one weekend approach, it might make it better. And you see that he's done it before.
Yeah.
If you look at the Game Awards, you start to see Sony's and Xbox's and all the big boys putting these headline announcements in there. They still have the state of plays. They still have their showcases. But as a destination stream, one night only, nice and tight, please God, 2 hours type showcase. It's like, I think if you just followed the same pattern they did with the Game Awards with Summer Game Fest, instead of like, it's still E3, it's still a whole weekend, it's like, no, that's not going to work, particularly when you're sitting at home.
That's what I'm going to say. Do you think we feel differently about that because we're not, in person?
Well, yeah, I really do. I think that there's something's been lost about it because it's that congregation, and also because it is more online, but there's still that. If you think about it, nothing's really changed. It's still taking place in LA. It's still getting streamed to millions worldwide. But right now, it's just because it's not the same. It's not the same name. It doesn't have that same kind of feel and buzz that they're all under the same roof, which is what they were at E3. They're actually all under different roofs and they're all streaming from different places. That kind of authenticity of it all kind of shines through for me. I mean, another thing I would do, this is my crazy suggestion, right? Because it's off the back what you said, right? Make it worldwide. Already is, but look, make it simple, right? Get out of LA, right? It just feels like E3 in that sense. It kind of feels a bit stagnant and stale. And we see that all the time. And see, could you imagine if they took that almost WrestleMania concept with SGF of fans trying to guess the next host city? But it doesn't have to just be in America, let alone a country. And then you could really make that a celebration on a global scale. Not one that just feels comfortable or more of the same, or just, dare I say, insular, just that part of the community. Just because the industry has done stuff there in LA all the time for the past 25, 30 years doesn't mean we have to keep on doing it. It's 2025. I want to see some innovation. Be brave, break the norm. There's so much diversity of creators on the SGF lineup.
I've got to say that there as well, is that if you're talking about taking it worldwide, I mean, you're then cultivating this diverse spirit of the whole show. Like, you're being scared to say it's insular, but I think that's what we said. We definitely said that last year on the podcast, talking about the way that we would discuss this and how we would change it and stuff as well, and that something like that would really make a big difference. Like, it would make people want to be more involved in it, and it gives people an excuse for a big fucking rammy up in random places in the world.
I mean, if you want to make a weekend of it, I think that would be such a cool thing to do. Like, there's the Latin American Games Showcase, right? So see if he holds it. He hosts it in like South America somewhere, right? Or Southeast Asian Game Showcase. Next year he goes to that part of the world. Even goes to Australia the next year. And there's so many. It's not about like bringing it to Scotland. It's like, no, I don't think he wants to do it in the Hydro, because I don't blame him. But it's like, see, he wants to do it in Sydney somewhere. You know what I mean? Or if he wanted to go to India or something like that, it's like that would be such a cool vibe to kind of show this global celebration, but it's still very West Coast of America centric, and it has been because it always always has been. I'm like, I feel that's an open goal, particularly if you're wanting to kind of show the world that we as gamers are all over the place and we're enthusiastic and we'd love the opportunity to get together with, our fellow gamers and maybe see some cool games in person before. I mean, I think everybody's sick of either having to go to New York or LA or London. It's like there are more than 3 places for these big places, or in Germany, for Gamescom. Like there's more than that. And this is something I've believed for far too long in my life. Way back when I was a young man, that wouldn't it be cool if somebody did that on these shows? Like an E3 for the UK almost. I believe in Jeff. He can make it happen. If he really wants to do it, I think he should actually just go do it instead of just making it a stream. It's like, if there's one guy that can actually bring that to life, it's him.
Yeah.
It's definitely him. He's the only guy that could do it. We've seen other people try it as well. But yeah, it's just a few pointers, just not even pointers, just a little bit of, madcap feedback in terms of how we would change it, because if it's a fun thing to do. If you were in charge, what would you do? What about yourself? Would you change anything in terms of SGF? What's your...
I don't really view SGF as this all-encompassing thing, because I never have. Like, I never look at it as the collection, the sum of its parts, because really the only interest I have in SGF is what we watch, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? So I went down the rabbit hole of looking at the current vibe on SGF and how people kind of view it at the moment. What were we thinking about it last year, before and after the actual show itself? And then, how I would actually go about changing things. And to be honest with you, it hits everything that we've already spoken about. Like, looking at the current state of things, online seems to think that last year's Summer Games Fest, the whole presentation was pretty poor. It was quite middling. Mid is the word that was used most. When I actually went back to the breakdown of the games that were shown, I couldn't remember any of it. But you had games like fucking Metaphor. You had...
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a mind-blowing show, but for me, from actually listening to our breakdown of it, it was all games that were releasing soon after that show was actually made. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about a PlayStation showcase where everything's coming out in 2026. We're talking about a Game Awards or the Summer Games Fest where everything was releasing a few months later, which was actually pretty cool. And it really did, it ties everything up in a neat wee bow. But you did have a lot of fucking weird multiplayer shite. You had that mad advert with Chris Hemsworth and Ken Jeong and all that bollocks in it. So there was loads of stuff there. What we said initially was that we're pleasantly surprised that it was more focused on actual games itself and less on Jeff, because one of our big criticisms before was that it was a show about Jeff and not about the games. So the both of us came on that morning and said, look, he's done well, and it's for a first go at something like this, and the way that he's changed it was actually, pleasantly surprising. As I say, we both thought that it wasn't mind-blowing, but it was all right. Like, it was a a B for effort. But the most common thread through everything we spoke about in it was that it was too long. Like, I think that
that's the big issue.
During our breakdown of it got to halfway through the show, and not halfway through our show, halfway through the the fucking Game Awards shop, halfway through SGF, where you were talking about how you were feeling about it, and halfway through you were like, I was done. I was ready to tap out already.
Yeah.
And I was the same way. I think I'd said it on the show as well, that I was completely fucked by it. So it's like, I was just like, please end.
It's a marathon of a show.
It is a marathon, and especially when it's not amazing. Like, it's easy to go through like that Xbox showcase last year. That could have been about 7 hours long, and going at the pace that it was going at and the games that it was showing, we could have watched it forever. But I think that our thoughts and my own thoughts continue to still be that, the building blocks are there from last year. You know what I mean? Like, everything that he did last year can be improved on, and it's an easy improvement. Improve on the hosting of the show. You said last year, put different hosts on the stage, let them actually show off. And the show length was a big part of it. Change that even when you can.
Yeah,
And I think
mean,
that's something that is coming out now. Sorry to interrupt you, but
there you go.
that's something that's coming out in terms of reports about how the Game Awards might be this year. Because I was looking at things today with the Gamer are reporting that it'll actually be a slimmer show this year. So there'll be less focus on quantity of the games and more about the actual quality that they're showing off. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they've actually learned something from all the feedback that we've given over the years about the fact that we can't be arsed with watching it for about 19 years.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that will obviously sort of spark a change in it. But it's like one of those things that we always say, Liam, we'll believe it when we see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's Jeff. He's already announced that Kojima's going to be there, so he's already going to be on stage for about fucking 15 minutes.
Always awkward.
Yeah.
Always awkward.
And my good friend Hideo Kojima is coming up on stage.
I mean, I get it. I mean, if you're pals with Hideo Kojima, you'd want to cart him out.
Too fucking right. I'd be bringing him everywhere. Here's my good mate Hideo. One of my Wayne's christening, do you know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where, and I think I said this last year, I didn't hear it in terms of what we're talking about, but it's one of those things where it's now just a necessity. Like, this show is it's necessary if you want to be up to date on all the shit that's going on, and if you need a platform to show off these games, then it's the best way to do it. These developers, some of the indie developers and stuff, they live and die by these shows. Do you know what I mean? And it's necessary for them. And I think that's where we are affected by it. We can only support indie games if we think they're good. Do you know what I mean? But imagine if, your blueprints and you show that off at the gate, you show that off at Summer Games Fest, and then it blows up again the way that it has. Do you know what I mean? Like, it creates these games, and that's what it's good for. My issue with it is that you always get fucking shite in it as well. Like, and you can't win everything, but surely fucking Jeff's like, look, no. like no.
You can tell the games that are on there that are purely there to keep the lights on. Which you get. I mean, he's trying to, he's not a charity. He's not doing this out of the goodness of his heart. He wants to break even and obviously pay himself and his staff. The one thing I'll definitely give Jeff, though, and this is one thing I think is a very, very good thing. There's lots of things, but if it's a top redeeming factor for Jeff Keighley, is that he's so open to feedback. After every show, he's there, and that's such a hard thing to do. I mean, if you think about your day-to-day job, when was the last time you went and asked everybody for feedback? It's the worst thing in there.
I hate taking feedback. I'm not a great feedback receiver. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, you're right. And it's his enthusiasm. It's what's the word? Contagious. And it makes you excited for it. And you know what? It's a showcase for all these games. I think that it has been affected by the showcases from other developers and stuff like that now as well, like Switch and fucking PlayStation and Xbox have now got their own things, so you're never going to see the Days Gone remake, you know what I mean? You're never going to see Days Gone 2 at Summer Games Fest. But
damn it.
But
I was hoping for that.
Do you know what? There will be games that I think this year will be a good year. I'm going to put my hat on this year, and I want to talk about predictions, Liam, because I've been sitting on these. I've been letting these cook all day.
I'm with you. I think we'll move on to predictions now, because I think after the Game Awards last year, it felt like he might have turned a corner in terms of how to put this together. And also, one last thing, he clearly can do it at a decent time for us over here.
Oh, please.
Because it's 10 p.m. SGF showcase, none of this, midnight, 1 a.m. nonsense. So, Jeff, keep that up, mate. Think of that for the Game Awards. We want to go to bed at a decent time. Anyhow, in terms of, let's do one prediction at a time, Scott, just to keep this tasty and see if we get any doublers, because we all have doublers. What's your first prediction? Then I'll go.
So it's fallen off the back of the fact that he's already announced Kojima there. I think that we're obviously going to see more of Death Stranding 2, but I think it's going to have a very famous person in it.
Right.
I think we're going to see a very famous cast member in Death Stranding 2, bigger than what we've already seen.
Care to wager a guess?
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, no, that's a good shout. I could totally see that, actually.
Beyonce. Crocodile Dundee, because it's in Australia, so somebody like that.
Yeah.
It's either going to be a really famous person or a very obscure 80s TV character.
So David Hasselhoff.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, that would be amazing. He's just one of the boats.
Yeah. You know what? I could totally see that happening. For me, probably top of my list would probably, at this point, maybe Jordan Peele or something that comes back out, and it's like, yep, we've been talking. We went for lunch again in Tokyo, just casually, and now I'm in the game.
We're actually cancelling. We're actually cancelling OD now. Yeah. We're not bringing that out. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a very good one to start with. For me, I'm going for the low-hanging fruit here. I think it's time. I feel it in my bones, and I feel because Capcom are a partner, we're going to see Resident Evil 9.
Yes,
we're going to see the first little tease or something on it. I think they'll have a bit of a presence here with a few things. But I mean, Resi 9.
Off the back of you saying that, I think Resident Evil 9 is definitely a shoe in for it. You might even see, there's been rumblings of a 5 remake. You might even see that show up. But I definitely do think, because last year we saw the Season 2 trailer for Street Fighter 6. I definitely think we'll see Season 3 of Street Fighter 6 as well. And I reckon Sagat is in there. That fucking big baldy bastard better be in there. I think we'll have, not for the first time ever, but I think we'll see the crossover from Tekken into Street Fighter. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I think that Street Fighter Cross Tekken is a glorious thing. People hate it, but I fucking love it. But I think that now is the time for a Tekken character to show up randomly. And I think we'll also get Makoto from Street Fighter 3 and somebody from the Street Fighter Alpha series. Let's say Birdie for no reason. Or Axel. Abel. Somebody like that.
Throw enough shit at the ball and see something.
Honestly, there's so many characters that need to show up in it. And they've started to show a wee bit of love for Street Fighter 3, so having somebody like, Sean or Dudley or something like that in there potentially, but I'm putting my hat on Mortal Kombat. I'm putting my hat on Tekken. Put Sub-Zero in Street Fighter if you want. On you go. Put anyone on it.
Well, it's not going to be any other games anytime soon.
Christ, I know.
Good. It doesn't sound good over there. But anyhow,
pour one out for NetherRealm.
I've got another juicy one here. I think that we're going to get a trailer here for Project 007. First proper reveal trailer from IO Interactive. My little juicy. I'm trying to give a little juicy twist here, right? For me, I think we also get the reveal of who's playing James Bond.
Do you think so?
I do, and I also think we get a reveal of, or at least we'll hear it. Similar to the Indiana Jones trailer, and it was like it came out in reports after. Oh, it's Troy Baker. I think you'll get a reveal of Bond and a villain. At least you'll hear the voice, and I think afterwards in the reports, Ben Starr's going to be one of them. That is my wild prediction. He's either going to be a villain or he's going to be playing James Bond in this game.
He's got the voice.
He does. I think he's a fantastic villain.
He would make a fantastic villain. It'd be great. It would be nice. I have gone. So my predictions follow two patterns here. One is predictions that I think will happen, and one are predictions that I think I want to happen. Right. So I'm going to continue on the predictions that I think will happen. I obviously think we'll get a final trailer for Mind's Eye. I think that's a shoe-in.
Yeah.
And I do think that we'll get another trailer for Virtua Fighter 6. I think we're going to get another one for that. More from Sega, I've just written. So another, Virtua Fighter 6 character. I reckon we'll see a Yakuza character in there. But nice to see Kiryu in Virtua Fighter. I think we'll also see another Yakuza game for some reason, because they're farting those games out quicker than anyone else.
Yeah, totally see it happen.
And I think this will be the moment where I know there's been a lot of excitement and a lot of sort of brain power on Shinobi, but I think this is the moment where you unleash Crazy Taxi, Liam.
Oh, right,
I think this is where you fucking fire it out, and it starts exactly as you think it should start. And everything erupts. You know, you have the big taxi, you have the car falling from the ceiling like the Royal Rumble 2000, and it's just crazy taxi. There you go. Mankind falls out of it, and there you are.
Well, for me, I think that's probably a prime candidate for a shadow drop if they do that.
Yeah,
I really do. Good one though. These are all, they feel probable.
Yeah,
You know, they're not too crazy, which is good. Me, I'll hit you with a couple here since it's a couple, right? So I think we're going to get the new BioShock reveal here. Whether that's just a simple teaser trailer, just basically to say, look, the project's real, it's in development, and it's coming in 2026. That's what I would say.
what is the setting?
It's well, according to the reports, it's Rapture again, which I believe. I do think that will be I think they're going to try and recapture what made the first one so special, and they'll probably fail.
Yes.
But they're going to do it anyway, and it's going to look gorgeous. It'll be Unreal Engine 5. I don't know anything else on top of that, but I think my big juicy part for that one is 2026 is what the date's going to be on it, and that'll be one of the first games you'll see delayed next year with GTA 6. On top of that, I think here's an extra one. I think that Sony will chuck Jeff a bone here, and I feel that there's going to be an Astrobot DLC announcement here. Not the way that we had it beforehand, like an extra couple of levels. I think it's going to be like an announcement of an expansion, you know, Astro's Summer Holiday or something like that. And it's going to be like, you know, 30 plus levels, like a good chunky bit of data. 30 is a lot, actually. Probably about 10, 15 levels, like another little planet galaxy getting added to it.
Astro's final mission, and the final just alludes to the fact that it's all Final Fantasy characters.
Astro goes to Benidorm. That's what it's going to be. Just
Astro's holiday.
I mean, I can picture all the platform and things just jumping off a big fat guy's stomach and all that, sliding down the suntan lotion and all the rest of it, dodging all the shots outside, all that stuff.
Astro's bad fur day.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, kids. That's those two ones. So, yeah, hit me with another one.
Another one. The one that I think is, you know, it's probable, but I think it is just off recent reports, is Yuri Lowenthal confirmed that he's not reprising his role for the Persona 4 remake, which, you know, the worst kept secret in video games. And I think that this will spur the showing of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we'll see it now rather than it being kind of kept under wraps for a bit longer. I think that they have to now, you know, produce the goods and show people that it does actually exist. So,
did he say he's been recast or anything?
No, he's saying he's not. He's just saying he's not been asked to come back.
Oh, right, okay, interesting.
Which is a bit ridiculous. So,
yeah, weird choice that.
Yeah, it is a weird choice. And the last of my probable ones, and this is just because, you know, we have to get it in there, Liam, is this will be the year. Hollow Knight is coming. Silk Song will arrive. If it's going to be here, great. I do expect it to see it on Xbox, which we'll obviously get to shortly, but those are my predictions I think will happen. Now we get to the fucking good stuff, the Charlie Day.
You want me to give you my locks before you get into the
go for it
upper echelons? I've also got that Hollow Knight Silk Song. Put a note here, it's either there or the Xbox, same as you, but I think it's going to be July, August. I think it's going to be really soon. It's coming out, and thank Christ I don't have to hear about it anymore. I think you're going to get a Silent Hill Left release date. At this one. I think you're also going to get a Kingdom Hearts 4 update as well. Just be very small, very brief, but it'll be enough to make everybody very happy. Because Lord knows, man, they need chuck them a bone. The Kingdom Hearts fans have been lying. This one feels slightly lofty, but I can see it happening. You'll get Black Myth Wukong DLC announcement.
Are they doing that? I didn't think they were going to do it.
That's why I think it's going to be something that'll be just that'll be a bolt from the blue.
Yeah.
On that note of DLC, I think you'll get the release date for the Lies of P DLC.
I put that in there as well. I've
put that down as a shadow drop.
Put that exact same fucking thing myself.
I feel like they had a preview cycle recently, and I feel like that's pretty much ready to go. If they've been doing that, so I wouldn't be surprised if that night you could go play that DLC. My lock of the show. Right, take this one to the bank, is that we will get Jurassic World Evolution 3 announced. I think it's been cooking. And I think we're going to get that here, and I'm very excited about it to see what they do. Perfect time to release it. I think they're going to probably release this towards the end of the year, capitalising off the soon-to-be-out Jurassic World Rebirth. It's the time to do it. And Jurassic
DLC.
Exactly. And Jurassic Park Survival is not anywhere near being ready.
Yeah.
They were just at like a narrative meeting. Yes, I'm sad. I'm following all the crusty updates on this one. They're nowhere near it. You know, it was like pre-alpha gameplay, but it's very early days for that. I can't wait to see it. So let that one cook. But in the meantime, Evo 3, take it to the bank. I only really have one like wild one here, Scott, for this, or two actually, for SGF. And I'll kick them off, right? Because I think you've got much more.
Well, I've got
apples
about 8 or 9 that I want to fucking see here. So
okay, so I'll give you my two, right? So the one here, which I think won't happen, but we'll hear it and that will reach fever pitch before it is the obvious one, which is Half-Life 3. I don't see Valve giving this announcement. I honestly see Valve just dropping that one day. Just like, yeah, so because they're weird and I respect them for that. My other one here is we're going to get a new trailer with a new release date following a recent delay, and that's for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, which a game I don't actually think is real. I've said that before on the show. Sadly, we also, before we started recording, we saw that EA cancelled the Black Panther game and closed the studio, which is bollocks because apparently it was going to be an action roleplay game from the creators of the Nemesis system, according to the game director on Blue Sky. My heart aches. But this one, Rise of Hydra, because of the involvement of Amy Hennig as well. I'm like, we know how this story is. I would love to see it come true because I think give me a good high quality Marvel game like that. I think it's very much the right time to kind of do that and explore new storytelling. But yeah, that's why I'm putting this as a very much a pie in the sky prediction for this.
Prediction. It's true.
Go ahead.
That is true. Right.
We'll go to
so
Xbox.
my few and many is I want to see more from Onimusha Way of the Sword. I know that's next year, but I think that, throws a wee bone in there. I want to see some more Konami remakes, whether that's a Metal Gear Solid remakes, whether that's more Silent Hill, or whether we even get to see a Castlevania remake.
Ooh.
Throw it in there. Because Grand Theft Auto 6 has now been delayed to all hell, maybe they fucking shite out a Grand Theft Auto 4 remaster. There's been discussions about that. Get it in there, Jeff. I want to go back. Take me back. These are all just ridiculous ones now.
Yeah,
so because NetherRealm are, literally fucking clinging for dear life at the gaping maw that is Warner Brothers. An easy win. Shaolin Monks remake. It's not actually, nothing's happening with it yet, but it's just a teaser of the fact that they are going to be doing it and it's coming soon. Capcom announced a 3D Classics. So you get the EX plus Alpha series or whatever it is. So you get EX plus Alpha 1, 2, 3. I just want to see EX Alpha 3 on my PlayStation again. Mortal Kombat 3D collection because, who doesn't want to play Deadly Alliance all over again? Final Fantasy 9 remake.
Okay, now we're really getting that pie's right in the sky.
Potentially, yeah. And it wouldn't be Scott Curry if he didn't want Soul Calibur to come back. Soul Calibur 2 is coming to GameCube on fucking Switch Online. So what is stopping them from releasing that on the PlayStation and on the Xbox again? What is happening? What is wrong with that? So I'm saying that they're going to announce it. That's what I want to see. I want Soul Calibur to be on everything so I can play it all over again. And then they realise that people fucking ache for Soul Calibur. And that's me.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much, Liam. Just remake and bring back all my favourite games.
Not at all. I mean, listen, this is the fun part of it before these shows. You chuck out all these predictions, even the ones that you're confident will happen. If you get like one of them,
the
most probable one to me feels like Resi 9. But even that you walk away and it's like there was nothing on it. And I have heard reports that this year's showcase isn't going to be like, full of high magnitude heavy hitters. I think, like you said, if this is a SmackDown to the Raw, I think he wants to keep that for the Game Awards. And there's still to see the likes of like Sony and stuff like that come out also. So we'll wait and see. But I'll go in with high hopes. I think that he's definitely going to have stuff in there that will get tongues wagging. He always does. Listen, if he drops Silk Song, if he manages to get them to announce that
that's the win.
You know,
that's all
signed, sealed, delivered. But we'll move on to the one that's happening on Sunday, which I think goes without saying is the one that we're most excited about, which is the Xbox Game Showcase. Now, last year they absolutely knocked it out the park with one of the best, you know, streaming showcases ever. And I think Xbox have really refined the art of how to do these things. I love the style. I love the rhythm, the pace of it all. The way that it does focus on the developers as well. And it just, if not, they're just going trailer. Get rid of all the shite. They're not here for it. 45 minutes to an hour, let's just do it. And if you want more Outer Worlds 2 type, get it direct afterwards. Now, I'll kick things off here. I think that the show opens with Gears of War Reloaded. That opens the show. I think that opens the showcase. And you'll also, maybe not followed by it, but you'll also then, at some point in the show, get a trailer for Gears of War E-Day. The trailer, and it's releasing this year, I'd say November. And I think basically Reloaded is there to build interest ahead of release. That's my lofty. That's a realistic mix with a lofty prediction there, Scott. But I'm doubling down. The chips are on the table. I've been playing Sabacc all day. I don't care. I'm a high roller. But I think E-Day, right now, if they follow that strategy of let's get them reintroduced or let's get new players introduced back to the world of Sarah and, you know, the Locust fight, and let's just 1-2 punch, E-Day, there you go, ready to rock and roll. Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that game's further on than what we think. And I say that now and I'll be absolutely eating my words come the end of this weekend. This is just absolute copium right now, but I feel that E-Day is coming this year. I don't know why. Just got a funny feeling.
Personally, don't see it, and I think, you know, when is the whatever it is, Reloaded, whatever, when is that
Reloaded is in August, I think.
I feel like that's a quick turnaround. But, you know, Xbox have a strange way of throwing out all the games at one time, so it could be. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Gears of War to kick off the show, it just makes too much sense.
Yeah.
My next thing on this was just another look at Perfect Dark. We get to see a bit more about that and sort of how that's cooking up at the moment and stuff as well. And we get to see how that gameplay doesn't look anything like the gameplay we saw in the last one.
Yeah, I feel, was there not a report earlier this year, probably from Jeff Grubb, that might have had to be taken back, like almost like restart again. I'm not sure.
Is that right?
It might have been a bit of trouble, but I've butchered that. Probably, I could Google it right now, but I can't be asked.
Let's just throw it out there. Let's just pretend. Fake news, man.
This is all pretendy stuff. Fuck it, these grifters make a living out of it. So
it's actually just been cancelled, to be honest with you.
That's it.
And they're making, you know, Perfect Dark 3.
That's it. But they announced Joe Rogan Simulator. Next up for me, I think that we get a gameplay trailer for Fable, and it still sticks to the 2026 release date. But that's all I was going to say, 2026. I don't think they give anything else, because I think, to be honest with you, every game that's 2026 in here, unless it's coming out before March, it's just the year. I don't think they commit to a window. But I feel like it's not just a trailer. I feel like it's a gameplay trailer. I feel like it's a time for us to, it's kind of somewhat they did last year with Perfect Dark, to kind of show us what this game's going to look like when it's in the hands.
100%. And that's exactly what I wrote myself as well. I put that they're going to announce the Avowed is coming to PS5. I think that'll be the next game for PS5.
That's a great shout. That is a great shout.
I think we'll see Avowed on PS5 before we'll see Starfield on PS5.
Well, I've put that here, Starfield. I thought that they're going to announce a DLC expansion here, and they would announce it's coming to PS5, or they wouldn't explicitly say PS5, but they'll say, you know, it's coming to other platforms. Mm-hmm. They have to figure out a way to control that message.
Yeah.
But then again, if Sony, they could announce a state of play any day now. So I do still think at the bare minimum, you'll get a Starfield expansion announcement. Mm-hmm. And top of that, right, and this was the big elephant in the room, because I'm realising it's June just now, right? And usually we're well aware of this very small game that's coming up, which is the next Call of Duty. Now, don't forget, this time last year there was a Call of Duty Direct, and I thought, is this something here? Did they announce Black Ops 7? I think that's what's led to believe that's the next installment. I don't think they do that. I think they announced a COD Direct for August, and they don't announce the next title or anything to do with the game. They just announced a date for a Call of Duty Direct, and that's it. Dead simple. That's my prediction here. I don't think you get the first kind of teaser trailer of the reveal of the name or the vibe or whatever it is, just some mad random tech and a bullet or something like that.
Soap McTavish farting on screen.
Call of Duty soapy madness. Soapy
McFuck. Aye, fair enough.
I can see that happening.
Yeah. I think this will be the time that we get to see more Final Fantasies on Xbox.
Yes,
with Final Fantasy 16. Ben Starr, bathed in light, shows up on screen and announces that Final Fantasy 16 is going to be on Game Pass now, and then it's on Game Pass by that time it's finished.
Well, I've actually put Final Fantasy on mine as well, but I've wrote down Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Rebirth are announced for Xbox.
Yeah, it has to happen sooner rather than later.
I just have this funny feeling, despite the exclusivity deal, I don't know if maybe there's been something cooking in the background with Xbox naturally putting some of the top selling games on the PlayStation Store, with like Sea of Thieves and all that. Forza Horizon's just arrived. And surely if you're in there, it's like going to chuck us up on. Like they're sitting down with Square Enix, they're probably sitting down with PlayStation about this exclusivity deal, and it's like, look, we want to get this in as many hands as possible. Mm-hmm. I don't really know if that's just a bit of copium. But my next one here, I think they announced Forza Horizon 6 at this one. I feel like, I can't remember how long it's been since Forza Horizon 5. It's been a few years now, though.
Yeah.
Feels like perfect time.
Do you think it's exclusive to Xbox, or do you think they say that it's coming to PS5 day and date?
I think for most of these new announcements, they will just say it's coming to Game Pass day one. I think they'll take the similar approach.
When do you think we see that? Because obviously, it's working. You know what I mean? Like, people are talking about Xbox winning at the moment, which is great. But when do you think they just say, look, we can create games that are, best-selling games on these platforms? Do you know what I mean? So does it not make sense just to announce it day and date? Especially with fucking like Gears of War and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think we're a couple of years off of it. I really do. I think that what they're trying to do is very slowly transition their hardcore audience into this new reality, which is the people that have invested solely in the Xbox ecosystem, despite it being everywhere and it being the best ecosystem out there just now in terms of consoles. They don't want them to feel burned, and they don't want to also put them off investing in Xbox hardware again, because I don't think they're going to get out, excuse the pun, they're going to get out the game on that one, which leads me to my next juicy prediction here, Scott. I'm champing at the bit with this one. But I think on that note, closing the show will be Xbox handheld gets announced here, and it's going to be priced $299.99, releasing this holiday, and it will be able to run more than just the Xbox OS, according to the rumours. Use your imagination. But I feel that that's what they do, to be like one more thing, and then they get the big high-heed talking about, we've created the most advanced handheld thing, blah, blah, blah. Then it's like really impressive, and it's just a ROG Ally. But that's basically what it's going to be.
I've put it on mine, to be honest with you. I didn't think about it in terms of, last up on the show, but it's on there. And I think it's now time just to get it out there.
I'm missing it, man. I'm missing it big.
I'll give 2 because you gave me 2 there because I interrupted you.
There you go.
We're obviously going to get another look at Ninja Gaiden 4. That's a given. Another Tony Hawk update. Nothing to do with the gameplay or anything like that. But what they actually show off is extra playable characters that are in it.
Yeah, some secret characters, perhaps.
Secret characters. I think we're going to see Banjo-Kazooie and Tony Hawk's. I think that just makes sense. It makes too much sense, actually, in my own head. And I think that this is the time. I know that PlayStation might have their own show coming up in the next few days, next week or so, but I think this is the time where we see a PlayStation Studio game, an Xbox Direct showcase, whatever it is. I think that we get to see like a God of War, for example, show up.
Wow, Jesus, a megaton.
It would be hilarious just to see the flash of the PlayStation Studio thing come up, and there's just the and it's just fucking Kratos opening the door, and a big Xbox symbol shows up on screen, and then it's just fucking there you go. Because what is the reason for it not being on there? Do you know what I mean? It's stupid.
There's not a reason, but I think you've got a better chance of Donald Trump admitting that he's a big lying shitebag.
No chance. It's happening. Donald Trump is going to do it as well.
Imagine. Oh man,
because I've said it, it'll happen.
But
I do think
manifest it.
I do think that now is the time. PlayStation are obviously, and like I say obviously, right? But we see the perils that PlayStation Studios are having at the moment with some other titles, and we're seeing the performance that Xbox is having on not their own console, with a higher user base and stuff like that. But what is the manpower just to throw out a fucking God of War Ragnarok, post for fucking Xbox? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's more the brand power of like PlayStation Studios, and they've been very protective of it. Same way, like you're not seeing like a Mario, and anything other than Nintendo.
But
I'm not getting Mario Rabbids, but I'm
we saw Aloy on the Switch last year.
True.
Well, I mean, did we? But yeah, I just think it's stupid not to do it now.
I mean, listen, if there was going to be a way to do it, I think you'll see Master Chief on a PlayStation first before you see Kratos anywhere near an Xbox.
That's a fucking question for the masses. Who do we see first?
There you go. Put that in a wee poll. On the note of Halo, I'll put that here. But I think we get another update and just a little tease on the next Halo from Halo Studios. Very, very early. It's just, concept art again, just to show progress. I think they want to get the message out that the Chief has got something else coming on Unreal Engine 5, as they had when they announced the rebranding the studios. I've got a couple of ones here, Scott. I'll keep the very juicy one to the end, right? But I've got some like very light throwaway ones, right? So State of Decay 3, I think you'll get that here. I think you'll get an Indiana Jones DLC announcement. And I'm going to go with it's coming in October this year, because why the hell not? I think they're all like that. Listen, October's free. GTA is not there anymore. Get it in there. And I do have. I've also put the Ninja Gaiden 4 thing, but I think that's going to be another shadow drop. It's got a funny feeling about it. Because I think they're going to have some pop that's on Game Pass now.
Yeah.
Type thing. I have put a wild one here, Scott. And you mentioned the series previously on the SGF stuff. I think at the Xbox Games Showcase, they get the first announcement of Persona 6. Wild, but I see this partnership that Xbox have with them, and a lot of the Persona games have come to Game Pass, and I just feel that there's something there. And if it doesn't have to be anything other than just like, a few silhouettes, bit of music, 15, 20 seconds with the logo of Persona 6. No date, just like, bang, it's coming. And they're wanting to align themselves with the Xbox.
What about a metaphor Fantasio Royale? Royal, whatever it is. Well, do you know what I mean? Like, a version that actually runs better. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
Not the meatiest one. I've got something a little bit more meaty, but I'll wait to see if you've got anything else you want to put in predictions.
I actually don't have anything else. I think that it could be a place now where we see Activision drop all their fucking dump.
Oh, man.
This could be the dump that we're waiting for. The Cleveland steamer of the Xbox showcase.
We live in hope every day that they have the courage, the minerals to drop the Activision classics that we want. You know what I mean? We want to see those Marvel games. We want to see even the B tier stuff like prototypes and all that on there. Just give us it all, man. Just give us it all. You have the power. You have the Infinity Stones. Just snap them into existence.
I think you've just quoted He-Man and fucking Thanos.
I'll quote them all, mate. I'll quote them all. I'll do it. I need every single fictional man, woman, person of power to make this happen. That's what I need. Because we all want it, man. Like, Activision are just sitting on that damn gold mine, and it's a crying shame. Because if Xbox pull the trigger on that, man, it's Game Pass, Jesus, it keeps on getting better. Keeps on getting better. But here's my wacky one, because in my heart, I'd love to see it, but my head is telling me you're never near it. And that's Marvel's Blade. I think we get a new trailer that actually shows it off for the first time. And I think they announced a window of 2026. But I think that's another one that will be victim to GTA 6, and it will get pushed to 2027.
No, it makes sense.
I feel like we actually get to see something like, the actual visual design aesthetic of this game. Just a little, a little flavour tone piece. Just to be like, here's what it is.
Who is it that's making it?
It's Arcane.
Arcane. Is it just Redfall but with Blade?
It might be. I'm
Remember
sure
Redfall?
checking that. I'm sure it's Arcane. Arcane.
I think it is Arcane. I think it was. So remember the guy coming out weird? He had like a mad French name. I'm sure
it was.
Correct
it
me
was
if
a
I'm
big
completely
surprise.
Incorrect, but I'm sticking with that.
It's Arcane Studios and Bethesda that's doing it. It's very much. I feel like the last time they entered development on this in about 2021.
Now is the time.
Well, in fact, no, they stopped development in Deathloop in 2021, so that's been a few years. Again, I don't think that this is something that's particularly close to completion, but fuck it, it's a prediction episode. Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's do that. I'm not announcing that Kratos is coming to PlayStation. That's one to be top, so that's probably the most lofty one of the day.
How dare you? I mean, we have to dream. I mean, I'm not going to buy it on Xbox. It doesn't fucking change my life because I already own it and have played it. But
there you go.
It just makes sense. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of that they could potentially throw out. Kojima shows up on it, maybe shows off a wee bit more on OD, but maybe. I don't think he will because Death Stranding's so soon.
I don't think OD is going to get made.
They showed off facial capture and stuff like that, and people that are in it.
Maybe photograph. That's it. That could have been facial capture from Death Stranding for all we know. There you go. Conspiracy theorist number one.
It's true.
I don't know what there's something about it that's telling me that it's either not going to get made or it's going to be a very short thing. It's going to be something that's like 2 to 4 hours max.
It's like a 13. Is that like a 13 minutes or something like that? One of those. Fucking...
Yeah. I think it's going to be something like that because he's still got this fizzing to do with PlayStation, which I can see being a much more meaty project. And I don't see him going back to Death Stranding 2 in the immediate future. But I got a funny feeling that Death Stranding 2 is going to be accolade daft.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, but I cannot fucking wait for it. Genuinely, like I'm in a holding pattern now just for Death Stranding to hit my fucking doorstep.
Yeah, it's like 1 month to go, really, and then that's it. And it's just going to be a summer of Kojima because you've got that, and then we've got Metal Gear Solid 3 or Metal Gear Solid Delta shortly after. But I digress. So that wraps up all the predictions, Scott. So we'll wait and see. See. If everything that we've said there comes true, it's going to be the greatest showcases of all time. So we know. I think if we get, I'm going to go, 20% of that. If we get 20% of anything we've mentioned here, then I'm going to get a nice cloak and a crystal ball, and that'll be us. I'll be very, very happy with that. The only thing the thing I'm most confident about is just Jurassic World Evolution 3. To be honest with you, I feel like that's the low. There's not even a low hanging fruit. It's on the ground.
You're just picking it up.
Pick it up.
There's an appleware.
We should move on. So of course that means that it's time for the Pixel Pick Showdown, where each week we each pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one deserves to live on in the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend and pass on to the next generation of gamers. Now, last week's theme was One More Go game, with Hotline Miami becoming the latest addition to the list. And in this week's showdown, we are debating what best PlayStation Vita game we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Now, Scott, as always, last week's winner goes last. That'll be me then. So what is your honourable mention and your pick this week, sir?
It was a tough one. Let's be truthfully honest here. The Vita,
Scraping the
as you
barrel.
alluded to in the intro of the show, yeah, the less said the better. But when I actually think about games that I've played on it, there's two that stick out, and it's two that I don't think you'll actually. Maybe one that you'll think of, but the other one, the one that I'm picking today, definitely not a winner, but one that is a winner in my heart. And this is a common theme with these picks these days. So, my honourable mention this week is actually last week's winner for Hotline Miami.
Nice.
The Vita seemed like the place that I played that game most. To be honest with you, it felt like it fit well on that screen, and it was an excellent time. A roller coaster ride of a game.
Yeah.
But there was one game I played more than any other game on that Vita. So much so that I then bought it for the PlayStation 4, I believe, afterwards. And that's a little game called Guacamelee.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I fucking love Guacamelee. It still sits downloaded on my PlayStation because in a moment I could go back and play it. But it's just full of all the fucking nonsense that you can imagine from, luchador life in Mexico. Follows the main protagonist, Juan.
Yep.
Phenomenal name. Yep. And obviously kind of carries on that Day of the Dead motif that now we know and love, having watched Coco. But yeah, you basically have to, deal with everything you need to do with Juan. So I think it's the dead people's leader abducts his friend and his current girlfriend, and he has to go and save them basically. But it was the combat and stuff like that in it. From a usual Metroidvania, it's very much shoot the guy or hit them once in that shoe. But this was all combo based, so everything that you do had purpose, and you could do these kind of combo streaks and stuff like that as well. And the sound effects when you were hitting them was always great. Stop running about you. But it had everything that you knew and loved from the Metroidvanias and everything that you played in the past, because you're obviously your abilities got better as you went through it. You could always go back to certain areas and play them completely differently. But the shining light in Guacamelee, Liam, was the music, because I still think about it to this day that it was phenomenal, a great experience. And as I say, I don't think it's going to win because there are better games on the PlayStation Vita, but in my heart, Guacamelee is always the winner. Just because, in what game can you play as a luchador dressed as a chicken?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's a guy with a big head and a big hat that I've still got the screenshot saved somewhere. Like, I think I'll have to go back and play Guacamelee soon, because I fucking love that game. And I never actually played Guacamelee 2, so I think that's on the list as well. But it was just one that I wanted to show a wee bit of love, and I think deserves it. So that was my choice for this week.
Well, you'll be pleased to hear my honourable mention then, because I picked Guacamelee for honourable mention. It's everything you said is just so true. It's one of those games that you buy twice. I think I remember getting it in PS4, but I had it in the Vita as well. And it popped on it, man. It was just a perfect handheld experience on it. You know me with Metroidvanias, love it. Oozing with that style and personality. Yeah, it was just an awesome experience on it. I just wanted to put it on here just to kind of show some love, because I couldn't really put down FIFA 12, which is something that I played a lot of on that, because there was bugger all else. But my pick this week, I've had rational thought about it, and it sums up my feelings on this console. But it's really the only game that I feel tried to deliver on the initial promise of what was ultimately, for me, a disappointing console. And I loved it, and it blew my mind at the time. Wish we got more games like it, even with the terrible back touchpad stuff, and that is Uncharted Golden Abyss. It was the first game I had in the Vita, and I remember holding that, playing it, and I was like, holy shit, like, they have done it. They have made this AAA experience the palm of your hand. And back then in the lead up, buying the gaming magazines and all that for the PS Vita, reading the websites, and it's like, yeah, we've got like BioShock games and all the rest of it, and this is really going to, this is going to be the future. Kind of what we expect of handheld gaming now. Mm-hmm. And I know the Vita was probably a bit ahead of its time, and it just wasn't really going to get the development support that I think it really probably deserved. But yeah, for me, it's Uncharted Golden Abyss. It's a very, very lackluster, predictable one. But I think for me, it's just because it's the one game on there that I feel lived up to it. And I know there'll be people shaking their fists in the air, like you didn't understand the Vita. It was the indie console and all that. Yeah, but for me, it was just disappointing. And
I like how that's your argument, just like, yeah, that's fine.
Each to their own.
Makes
but
sense.
For me, that will always be a disappointing console that I sold for beer money in the end. And the best thing I played on it was Uncharted Golden Abyss. So I thought I have to just pick that. But yeah, I'm quite happy to concede this week with Guacamelee because that is a fantastic game, to be fair.
I think I'm going to have to. I think I'm happy to take it because it's we need to show a bit of love and joy in the world. The world needs light and colour and Mexican lucha libre. So come on now. Yeah.
I mean, what's your thoughts on the Vita before we wrap things up?
I think I had one for about 3 weeks. And that was it. I enjoy my PSP more, to be honest with you.
Same.
But yeah, I don't have any memories of the Vita. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, which is terrible as a podcast, partner, because you're asking me a question. I wish I could waffle and make something up, but why lie? My dog is literally taking toys out of her basket as I speak.
It's always better to be authentic than just that. That's one thing I had a thought about. Before I do, actually, I'll share my thought in a minute, but congratulations to Guacamelee. You are the latest entrant to the Pixel Picks list. Again, I say it every week. Look forward to next week's one. It's a good one. No disappointing consoles in sight. So I think about the Vita, and like you say, it's better to be authentic than pretend you've not. Because sometimes I'm listening to podcasts, I'm like, man, you played that? You played that? And it's like, you've got people on the show that are probably like 23 or something. They're talking about the fond memories growing up playing Mario 64, and I'm like, are you even alive? And it's not that you don't play it, but I just, particularly games of that era.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm like, getting anybody from the 64-bit era, or the Nintendo 64 era, sorry, or even the original PlayStation games, putting that on kids when it's like they've grew up when they're younger, it's a PS2, which is an old console. So they're going for that over it because it's a really hard sell. And I remember the look in my son's eyes when he tried to play Super Mario 64. So why are they so jaggy? Why does it look so bad?
It's just the way they are. Put them in front of Tomb Raider.
And it's exactly. I mean, it's amazing how much our imagination did for us back then. Yeah. But it sound like an old fart. You had to be there. But we do have a little bit of listener mail to finish on this week, Scott, I'm pleased to say. And it comes from our friend of the show and dear friend in general, which is Cuddles.
Cuddles. You've done that a lot.
Done it a lot, yeah. Adam Cuddles Miller, of course. So he's just, again, writing him. Always a joy to hear from him. So he's just letting us know that his son is loving Sonic Mania on the Switch still, and he's starting to get him tried out with Minecraft with mixed results. But again, something for them to do, and it's just kind of becoming their thing, which is amazing. So they've kind of.
Did you hear that?
That Scott chewed a chew toy in the background. I can feel this. Colonels. My son's on the Minecraft train now, thanks to the movie, which I can profess to say, and I've probably seen that film about 50 times, through completely legal means, I assure you. So it's like a daily occurrence in this house watching the Minecraft movie. He got a copy of Minecraft for his birthday. So yeah, it's let us know if you've got any tips in terms of how to help your kid navigate Minecraft and get better at it. I'm all ears, to be honest, because my son just digs a hole into the bottom of the earth, falls to the world, and then you keep restarting things for it. But he also gives us an update as well, Scott. He's been trying something new, which I applaud him for. Just something we can all resonate with, just letting things slide a little bit on the old health front, put on a wee bit of timber. As he says, he's starting to fat roll, which I love. So he's needing to, as he puts it, invest in some stamina points and start exercising. Listen, we've all been there, man. We've all been there. We've got to try and grind away, start getting the health meter up a wee bit. So he's got a very, very good solution here for this, which I thought was genius. Anytime he's on the PlayStation, he's on the exercise bike at the same time. So again, losing weight, having a good time. And yeah, just as he puts it, an hour passes away in no time at all.
And I'd love to know how his ass feels afterwards.
Well, I suppose probably better because it's not just sitting expanding, I'd imagine, which is a good thing. But he's also been, I think he's been inspired by yourself, Scott. He's going to be, I think he's thinking about trying a marathon this year.
I read the email, and the thought of doing a marathon literally fucking makes my arse hurt. Like it makes me want to die inside. And it's something that, you know, as you get older, you tend to find that this is the time of the sort of pre-midlife crisis where marathons are things that you want to do.
Oh, yeah. That challenge.
I don't think it's there for me. I ran a 5K. I ran a full 5K the other day, and it was like I just made it. So running, you know, more of those isn't going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd love to hear how you progress on it, Colonels. It's something I think fair play to you because, like you said, Scott, you reach this age and you start to, you know, video games is an awesome habit, but it doesn't really bring with it a lot of those health benefits. So I think playing the PlayStation and the exercise bike's a great idea. So I've been tempted to get one of those kind of walking pads for the house for years. Me, I mean, I'm not a runner at all.
I don't think I've ever seen you run.
Only in football situations where I'm surprisingly fast in those short bursts, but that's it. But when it comes to long distance, I have never, ever been a runner. But you know me, I'm more of the, like, I'll do something where I don't have to run. Hence why lifting weights is great because I can stay nice and static. You know, just like the ground is here and I am not traversing it very quickly. Even on a treadmill, it's like I won't run on a treadmill. I'll just kind of walk at a fast pace on it. But it does give us a question, Scott, as well. So his question is all around this, you know, do we or any of our listeners have any thoughts on how they can add a bit of physical exercise in a gaming session? Again, he's just open to any feedback, any level of difficulty at all, because he knows not everybody exercises the same way or has the same ability, which is a very good point to add. But Scott, any other little genius nuggets or pearls of wisdom or something you could try out or think about trying out? Because I think he might have stumbled across
the exercise bike is a good one. I've seen a guy on TikTok who plays Call of Duty and he walks the whole time. So I've seen that on one of the wee walking pad things as well. Maybe you just become an absolute sadist, and every single time you die in like Dark Souls, you do like a set with the weights or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like you just fucking burst your ass and just become hench as all hell because you've died all the time. I don't know. I really don't know. I know there's ways that you can gamify fitness though. I know there's apps where you can make it more fun and things as well, and that might be the opposite, but I don't know. I'm sure there's other ways that you can do it. Maybe you just... Aye.
Well, there was a very interesting one, not too dissimilar to what Colonels was doing. Guys over at Kind of Funny had recently did a marathon stream where they were doing the walking pad was playing Death Stranding. So every time you're walking in that, they literally walk the length of the game. That's something really cool because if you want to walk, pretty chill experience as well. I like the idea of like lifting weights every time you die, or maybe you could do something like, you know, if you sounds daft, but can you lift your armor? You know, whatever the weight is in terms of things. You know, can you get some type of weights to lift it up?
There's a guy on like TikTok who lifts weights of Pokemon. I'm sure, like can you lift like certain weights of Pokemon? I've seen that. It's interesting. Maybe you just wear sets of armor and walk in the walking pad. So you wear Havel's armor from Dark Souls and you do the walking pad and you just die trying to walk in it because it's so heavy.
I think for me, this is a bit of a cheat, right? Because I'm not playing games, but I think it goes, and this isn't a plug, right? Because it's not pertaining to ourselves, but if I'm wanting to get any exercise, like you says, if it's just even just a simple walk, a nice brisk walk, and I just get some headphones and I'll listen to a podcast, or if I've got weights at home as well, and I'll just stick on a podcast either and put the headphones on the speaker and just hit the weights for an hour. Then that's it. And it's like And it doesn't have to be too intense as well. It's not, even if I was at the gym, it'd be probably a little bit more intense because obviously you want to, try and break a sweat. But I think for me, as long as I've got something to distract and kind of connect me to my hobby, listening to a podcast, like I mentioned, kind of funny or something like that, anybody out there that you resonate with provides you a little bit of company when you're doing the exercising. Because if you're anything like me, I find my focus is terrible unless I've got something to distract me. Which is why I think the whole exercise bike with the PlayStation remote in hand is absolutely bloody genius, because it's a good way just to totally get you to zone out. Maybe that's something they should introduce in gyms with the treadmills, just a little PlayStation remote. Because I know they've got,
too.
yeah, you can take your Switch too as well. Yeah, do something like that. Yeah, there's all these ways to do it as well. But yeah, if anybody's got any other more ingenious suggestions that we can take on board, Colonels can take on board, please do let us know, and do what Colonels did and write to us as well. But thank you, Colonels. It's always good to hear from you, man, and we want to keep on hearing about your gaming journey as you progress. Of course, your fitness journey, because we're all getting older and need to look after ourselves. But of course, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us, and remember to support small independent games media. So if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, please give us a share on social media and tell your friends about us, or even leave us a wee 5-star review. We've been seeing a lot more of you doing that. So thank you very much, and it really does make a massive difference. Now, Scott, that means it's test time. So where can people follow you online if they wish to converse and engage with you, sir?
I'm on Blue Sky, llamaman.bsky.social. You'll find me on there talking all things Onimusha 2 this week.
Lovely.
Come and say hello.
Please do. I think I might myself. You can come follow me online as well at Blue Sky at camelite.bsky.social, where I'll probably just be doing the usual, chatting about video games, maybe chatting about some social anxieties about starting a new job. Please wish me the best of luck. I'll need everything that I can get to get over that little mental hump, of course. And thank you, of course, to our producer and music man, the very talented, handsome, and wonderful Mr. Sean Murray. Go show him some love. Check out his work on Instagram at barehandsdesigns and barehandsdesigns.com. And thank you for everybody that has done that as well. And you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms such as Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube as well. And follow us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social. And of course, do like Colonels and write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.